Alrighty, so here we are. Yep, it's gonna happen. Oh, I really hope I don't regret this. So, right now, we've got standard H4 style conversion headlights, and they work really well. I really like the pattern. I really like the cutoff. These are the Euro style instead of the dot. They still point the same direction and all that, but they have a much nicer, I guess, beam. And I really like them. I cracked one, I don't know, probably 6 months after getting one. I don't know if I hit it with a stick or what, but it cracked. And obviously the water got in and it rusted and it's just crap. So that really sucks. But besides that, I really like them. And honestly, if I could find an LED H4 bulb that would fit, I would have done that. But I can't. There's just no room behind those headlight buckets for those thick-ass LED fans and all that other bullshit to fit. I couldn't find a good one. So, yeah, it's time to get cringy. I really hope they don't look weird. So, I went over to our good friends at Amazon and found us some COWONE LED headlight buckets. It's all in one. 6,000 Kelvin color temperature, so they're white. 3,000 lumens low beam, 4,800 lumens high beam, and they look a little something like this. There you go. Okay, so as we can see, these are LED. It's a full, complete enclosure with plug and everything included, so there's nothing. You just pop it in, plug and play, good to go. So if you notice, we got a nice dot approved sticker on there for those of you that care. And this style right here, we have the center beams or the low beam, and when you flip the high beam, these outside ones come on as well, so it lights up the whole thing. It's also got some some running daytime running lights or something like that, or whatever the heck you'd like to hook these to. So that's what this separate wire is here. Run a little positive input and you're good to go. For me, I'm probably going to tie it to the running light assembly, and it should be good to go, so that way these outsides will come on with the parking lights on. So you got parking lights, low beams, and then high beams. And that's the whole thing. So hopefully it fits and looks good. I tested it on the Civic just to see the beam pattern, and it looks really nice. It's got a decent cutoff, and these guys are actually really, it's just a really thin spot. Like, it's a really tight beam. So you got your regular low beam, and then the high beam just gives you a little circle farther down the road. So it doesn't light anything high, but it does give you more distance. So hopefully these don't look terribly cringy on the Jeep. Again, they are kind of smoked housings. They're a lot black. They're blacked out, so hopefully it doesn't look too bad. But, we'll see. Again, I really like the classic look of these headlights, but I really, really want LEDs. After driving the Civic, I'm spoiled, man. I need the LEDs. So we're gonna see if these don't look like absolute turds. Oh boy. And nighttime. Wonderful. So, before I swap them and do all that business, I just want to do a nice comparison so you can see. Now, this is not going to be super duper the most fairest. I'm going to compare this one, since this one is obviously clearer, but it doesn't have a really bright bulb in it. I think it's just a regular, not like one of them Silver Star Ultras or anything like that, so this might be a little dim. But, whatever. So, for the older style Jeeps, I think the newer ones might be about the same. We've got 2 screws here to take off this side marker, and then we have 1 screw here and 1 screw here to take off this trim piece. Now, mine's been absolutely destroyed, so yeah, kind of just, it's about 1 screw away from just, blowing away in the breeze. But we will remove this and swap our bulb for the LED and see what it looks like. So next up, to remove this guy, you just twist it and pull it out. It's just a little square drive thing. Alright, so now we can get to the actual retaining ring on this headlight. So we've got 2 screws on the bottom and 2 screws on the top. You don't want to mess with the center one. That is for adjusting the headlight aiming, which we might have to do later. But we take them out, and this whole ring will come out, and then the whole headlight assembly can be removed. Okay, so we got all the screws out. A really, really useful tip. I find this to be the most important with Phillips head screws. If, for some reason, the screw does not want to come out, and you feel like you're just going to strip the head, one of the easiest ways to try to get a screw to break free is to tighten it. I know that sounds a little weird, but for some reason, when you find yourself a screw that, just kind of sucks, and it's not, there's not really much grip there, when you force in and tighten it a little, just enough to get it to move, then you've broken it free, so then you can back it out and loosen it. So that is an extremely useful method of breaking Phillips head screws free without stripping the head straight off. So now we can slide this guy out, and you'll unplug your thinger-dinger. So like I said, this is an H4 housing conversion. So it looks just like a stock sealed beam, but when you take this little cover boot off, you find it's just a regular H4 bulb. You can just pop this guy out, and you get a little bulb inside you can replace and keep the housing. Real cool. AutoPal, 20 bucks. Or something. I forget how much they were, but cheap enough. So, now we get a nice empty hole that we can fill with some LEDs. So, like I said, this is plug and play. It has the H4 connector, good to go, so you can just plug it right in there, and you're set. Now, if you plug this in and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, then you may have to switch the center pin and one of the other pins, because there are 2 different lighting wiring protocols or whatever. So they could be different. So if it's not working, you might have to check which is your low beam and which is your ground and all that. The only non-plug and play part is this. We'll have to run this to something that lights up when the parking lights are on. So you can either do the side marker light here, or you can come down here to this guy to your blinker. And actually, you could run it off your blinker too. So you could, make it blink, or you could make it, just a parking light. Whatever you prefer. Alright, so this is going to be a little more fun to try to squeeze in here. But just make sure that the dot points up, and we'll see what that looks like. Oh dear God, what have I done? It's a shame these look so goddamn disgusting. Ugh. It's just, it doesn't have that stock. It's just, Fucking hell. Anyway, let's see what they look like. Okay. So, headlights. And high beams. Neat. So it's interesting, you can see such a difference in color temperature on the camera. It's a lot harder to see. But, goodness. Interesting that there's so much glare on that, too. If we bring that way down, you can see that only the center 2 rows are lit up. It's kind of cool. And then when you turn the high beam on, the top row lights as well. So, you can see that it has a pretty decent cutoff. Nothing to complain about there. And when you turn the high beam on, it's just a little hotspot circle looking thingy. So I have to show you what that looks like. Activate high beams. So as you can see, that's just a little strip there. And now this one, all of them glow. So you can see the hotspot circle there is added to the beam. So the low beam is still on, but now you got this high beam circle as well. Nice hotspot to go pretty deep down the road. So that's cool. Again, I'll have to properly, mount this damn thing, but Kind of cool. See a brightness difference there. Yeah. So they look kind of fugly on my Jeep, you know. Everyone's got their personal taste. I really don't like things looking too blingy. But, you know, they're bright. So that's what really counts, I guess. We'll see. We'll see. I'm still a little on the fence, but maybe a good drive is all it'll take to really get me into it. Something I wanted to mention about LEDs, I don't know what the lowest operating voltage is on this guy, but I think it's like 9 or 10 volts. The cool thing is LEDs don't dim. So something with regular incandescents, the more voltage you feed them, the brighter they get. LED is not the case. They're always the same brightness, you know, as long as there's enough voltage to actually turn the darn thing on. So that's something interesting. Your headlights will always be the same brightness. So that's cool. So for those of you that are curious, that's what the running light or the turn signal light or whatever the heck you want to call them look like. It's just a little LED strip on either side. It only pulls about 60 milliamps, so nothing crazy. Cool. It's actually brighter than I was expecting, honestly. Not bad for just little running lights. So that's cool. So we're just gonna do this one simple. We got some wire. The gauge really doesn't matter for, you know, 60 milliamps. You're not moving that much current. So what I got was some male spade connectors, like these guys, and I just cut off the plastic because that is what is going to interface with our plug over here, so they will slide together like so. Go right in there. So we'll just take that guy and slip it on there and crimp it, and then for the other side I'm going to multimeter this just to check. I got some vampire clips a long time ago with some other kit. I think it was for the reverse lights. I didn't feel like using them at the time, but yeah, for here it should be okay. Who doesn't like a little green death in their life, right? So the way this works is you put the two wires in there, and then you just close this clip. You close this clip, and that little blade will pierce into the wire and make electrical contact. I want to make sure that that's definitely the positive feed, but besides that, yeah, we just run the wire there, and then we can plug it in, good to go. I just ran that around the headlight bucket like so. Okay, so a simple ohmmy test shows that we were correct in our diagnostics. So you see which wire comes out. See the black one at the top over there. So we have this in continuity mode with the beep test. Send this to ground, and what we're doing is looking for ground. So we go to this one. Beep beep. Hear nothing. Okay, so we can tell that the black one is ground and our blue one is our positive signal. So we got this guy crimped, good to go. A little solder on there wouldn't hurt. Really make that a solid deal. And then this one you just squeeze together. And there you go, just like that. She's pinched together. Pretty simple. Now obviously we should test this out, you know, before we go putting it all together. So we'll plug it in and see if it works. Okay, so we have success. There you go. That's how you hook up, you know, like those wouldn't exactly be daytime running lights, because a daytime running light would be if you hook it up to ignition, and this is obviously not that. So there you go. And then we got that, and you can see the side lights are on as well. And if you wanted these to be blinkers instead, you do this exact same setup, except you go into this bulb down here and find out which wire is your blinker wire. But that's it. That's all you gotta do. Cool. Alright. So now we can screw it in and be done. Oh, and obviously do the same on the other side. Okay, so the camera died, so probably didn't catch it, but for the running light assembly, since there's a little rubber boot over the headlight part, you can twist that back to cover your crimp connection, so that way you don't short anything out inside, because that would be bad, okay? But anyway, that's what it looks like with both of them installed. Now I'm noticing that there is, the camera picks up a little bit of glare, as you can see, from the lights, but looking at them in person, it looks perfectly acceptable. I wouldn't be upset with that. But when you get into the hot spot, it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's bright. But there you go. I don't know, they look kind of cool. Light output is actually quite nice. Especially when you turn them on for the first time, you're like, oh baby, that's good. That's good. And then here's the high beams. So you can see there's just two little circles on top. So if I can get this thing to stay... Yeah, see? So that's all that they are. The high beams are just, you know, brighter and they kind of go down the road, but the spot is kind of on the grounds. I don't know. But, yeah. I don't know. It's not as bad when they're both installed. It's okay. I think we'll have to go for a drive. So here we are driving down the road. Now I did notice with these lights that they pointed a little higher than the stock ones, so I had to adjust both headlight buckets down a little bit. Left to right seems pretty fair though. So just as a high beam test, so here's our low beam. We can get it to focus or do anything useful here. And high beam. So yeah, hey look, there's a cat over there. I don't know how I feel about that. The high beam doesn't really do anything useful. It's so low, it like doesn't really point up. But the I don't know. Maybe the low beams are a little low. But where the light does point, it looks pretty nice. Alright, so maybe I'll adjust them up a little bit. I was worried that I'd be blinding people, but hopefully that's not the issue. It's best to do this on a garage or something, so that you can see the proper pattern that you're actually outputting here, and get them both level. Not bad though. Not bad. Low beam, high beam. Yeah, it could use a little bit of work. All right, I'm gonna angle them up a little bit, see how that does. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. When you get out there, it looks kind of bright. It's a little blinding, and the high beams are just so low. I wonder, is it possible if they're upside down? I don't know. A little weird. Ugh. So the low beams aren't bad. They look like they're a little low. I'm still trying to find the sweet spot where I can have them high enough that I can see well, and I'm not totally blinding other drivers. Here's the high beams. They look decent on camera, but like you can kind of see the hot spots on them. They're just circles, man. I don't know, it's weird. So the passenger side I have upside down because I wanted to see if the beam's any different, and it looks like the beam is a little higher. So I don't know, but it's pretty much centered, which is interesting. The cutoff is still basically completely the same, and the high beam is kind of the same too, upside down. So interesting, but you know, I don't know. They're okay, but I'm not the biggest fan. They look really nice on the outside. Okay, so final review. Should you get them? You know, I'm kind of mixed. On the outside, I really like them. I really like that tight strip beam look to them. Really like that. That was the main reason why I got them. Because there's another version online that looks very similar, but the like the outside little running light strips are much bigger. They look like goofy little Batman symbols, and I didn't like that. This one's nice and square, and it just But if you're a beam snob, you're not going to be super impressed with these. I have them aimed a little low, just to keep oncoming drivers happy. But I don't know, the high beams, man. The high beams are just kind of, yes, they light up farther down the road, but at the same time, there's just so much of it on the road itself that it kind of cancels out. So yeah, they go farther, but it's so much brighter up front that you don't really notice it. Like on camera, you can kind of see the difference down the road, but in person, you kind of got to get used to it. You got to filter out the road so you can focus down farther. So, you know, if the cutoff was a little sharper, and the high beams were maybe angled a little higher, maybe not as tight of a spot, maybe a little larger degree, then these would be pretty great. So I don't know. If you're going for style points, yeah, they're not bad. But if you want something really clean and really nice and all that, maybe look somewhere else. But there you go. That's how they look. I do like the look from the outside. I will say that much.